Hi, welcome back to Mind Control.
You must know what you're going after. You must know what you are going after. You can't live your life meandering around hoping you hit something, and whatever you hit, you say, that's what I was aiming at. You have to have a specific target in mind. Most people don't succeed at getting what they're going after because they don't take the time to research what they're going after. They ask for things and then see if they want them. But you have to be careful about that, because if you ask for something, you might get it. And before you start blabbing what all you want to see God do, you need to be sure that that's what you want to see happen in your life. Know what you're going after. Now you say amen to that, but there's very few people who live by that principle. Most people want everything they see somebody else with. They buy clothes that don't look good on them. They wear hairstyles that don't look good on them. They buy houses they can't afford because they're trying to keep up with somebody else. But if you really want to be a winner, if you really want to come off as successful, if you really want to be bright, only go after things that are meant for you to have. It will make you look successful. And what makes you look bright is when you pick your battles. There are some things that you don't fight because that's not your fight. You don't get into that thing. You don't pick those battles. You don't covet what you see somebody else fight down, because they're anointed to fight that. They can do that. You might not be gifted to fight that area, and you don't want to covet somebody else's battle or covet somebody else's success. Covet, and the other word I want you to think about is the word envy, because envy is the attitude that you have about other people's success. When you become envious of other people's success, you fail to become everything that God would have you to be. And the quickest way to stop being envious of other people's success is to know that God has something for you, that everything in your life is preparing you for that thing, that there are in your life defining moments. This is a critical issue. There are in your life defining moments, moments that if you handle properly, they are pivotal points that change your life for a lifetime. It is at these moments that if you know what you're going after, everything that you went through before is justified in preparing you for these defining moments. When you come to the defining moments in your life, you can look at the other moments in your life and say, Lord, I wasn't happy about that when it happened, but I'm glad now that it happened. Because I realized that if I hadn't have gone through that, I wouldn't be ready for this. Everything you took me through before was preparing me for this moment, and now I'm ready to go after what God has promised me and receive it at all costs. Know what you're going after. Be clear about your direction. Don't wake up in the morning and see if something's going to happen. Wake up in the morning to make something happen. Get up out of the bed with an agenda. But people who get up like that, nothing does happen, and the days turn to weeks, and the weeks turn to months, and the months turn to years. Years of mediocrity is what causes people to be bitter. If you want to get around bitter and complaining people, get around people who are not seeing much activity. They're bitter, they're complaining, they're cynical, and they're jealous because nothing is happening. If you want to get around less gossip and less jealousy, get around successful, busy people. Because busy people don't have time to care what's going on in your life. I have no need to investigate what's going on in your life. I have so much going on in my own life that I'm not interested in what I heard that they said that you thought, that if I thought what you said that I didn't mean if you heard it. The only people who have time for that is people who are not doing anything. And they watch your life like it's a soap opera because they're living their life vicariously through you. What's going on in your life intrigues them because nothing is going on in their life. And if you want to stop that from happening to you, wake up in the bed and know what you're going after. Get up out of the bed with an agenda. When you have an agenda, you don't spend time worried about how you feel, because it doesn't make any difference how you feel. You woke up with something to do.
Setting goals. It can turn out to be a drama for your life. Here's what goals are. Your vision of the future. Your vision of the future. Now, there's two ways to face the future. One, with apprehension. Number two, with anticipation. Guess how most people face the future? With apprehension. Why? Major reason why. They don't have it well designed. They've left the design of their future to somebody else. And if you don't make plans of your own, guess what? You'll probably fall into someone else's plan. Guess what someone else may have planned for you? Not much. You got to make a list of this not much stuff. I'm telling you, people all their lives count on this not much list. If all of your negative relatives all turn positive, what'll that do for your future? Not much. If prices come down a little, what'll that do for your future? Not much. If the economy gets a little better, what'll that do for your future? Not much. If circumstances get a little better, what'll that do? Not much. If the weather gets a little better over the next few years, that'll do. Not much. I mean, you can go right down this whole scenario list. Most people all their lives, with their fingers crossed, count on this not much list. That's why 10 years from now, they'll be driving what they don't want to drive, living where they don't want to live, wearing what they don't want to wear, doing what they don't want to do, having what they don't want to have, maybe become what they didn't want to become. And it all starts by counting on something that's not going to count much. You say, well, then how can my life dramatically change? You got to count on yourself. Here's one of the things you got to count on: your ability to design the future. It's called promise. And the promise of the future, if you'll design it well, can have an awesome effect on your life. But if you face the future with apprehension, you'll take hesitant steps all day, uncertain steps all day. And if you take uncertain steps all day for 6 years, you can imagine how empty your life is. We've got to help our kids with the promise. Now here's what's connected to the promise: the price. The price to pay. And I'm telling you, the price is easy if the promise is clear. One of the better notes to make for today. Price is easy if the promise is clear and powerful. But the price seems almost too much to pay, too much to get over, too much to accomplish if the promise isn't clear. The promise isn't powerful. I'm telling you, kids will pay the discipline if they can see the promise. One of our biggest challenges as parents in the 90s is to help our kids see the promise of the future. That's why I'm teaching financial independence, how to become wealthy and powerful and sophisticated and healthy and unique. All of the stuff kids would hope to go for. It's all possible. This is America. That's the promise of the future. The price, a few simple disciplines practiced every day, and I'm telling you, the kids will pay the price of the simple disciplines if they can see the promise of the future. But if they can't see, they don't want to pay. And the same is true of all of us. We will pay the most extraordinary discipline if we can see the promise of the future. It's called setting goals. So I'm asking you to get a handle on the future. I'm asking you not to leave it to anyone else. Don't leave it to the company. The company's got their own goals. I'm asking you to set your own goals, your personal goals. Income goals, and financial goals, and health goals, and spiritual goals. And where do you want to go, and what do you want to do, and what do you want to see, and what do you want to be? That's it. Promise of the future. Design your own future within your hands, your capacity. Here's how simple now goal setting. It's not mysterious. You don't have to anchor, you don't have to focus, you don't have to visualize, none of that. Here's how simple goal setting is. Changed my life. Decide what you want and write it down. I mean, that's how profound this stuff is. Decide what you want and write it down. Make a list. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you want to see? What do you want to be? What do you want to have? What do you want to share? What projects would you like to support? What would you like to be known for? What skills would you like to learn? Some extraordinary things you'd like to do, ordinary things you'd like to do, right? Silly little things you'd like to do, very important things you'd like to do. Decide on all that stuff and write it down, write it down, write it down. That's how simple this stuff is. And it's your own private list. If it's really private, on your list, put some stuff in code where nobody can understand it if this list fell into unfriendly hands. And simple things, whatever. Foolish things, doesn't matter. It's your list. I had a little revenge on my first list. Budget finance, who used to harass me. I got 2 or 3 payments behind. This one guy called incessantly. Said, we're going to come get your car, drag it rear end up down the street in front of your neighbors. Put me down something fierce. When I met Shof, got my life straightened out, one of the first things on one of my lists is budget finance. And when I finally got the money, I needed a little drama in my life. Finally got the money to pay them all. I put it in small bills in a big brief. Walked into the budget finance office on Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles. The guy who harassed me so often, his desk was about 3 back. I opened the door, walked in, right up to his desk, stood right in front of me, never said a word. He said, "Well, what are you doing here?" Didn't say a word. I opened up this briefcase, dumped this pile of money all over his desk. I said, "Count it. It's all there. I'll never be back." Turned around, walked out, slammed the door. Now that might not be noble, but you got to try it at least one time. Pay off with a little drama. Got to check them off my list.
Hey, Grant Cardone here. I hope you're doing well today, and I want to share a message with you that I just worked with a group of entrepreneurs at a luncheon. I was asked to come in and do a Q&A. These were entrepreneurs from all over the world, and we did about an hour and a half Q&A where they just asked me great questions. And one of the things that came out of it, sorry, I just got out of the shower, but I wanted to share this message with you. One of the things that came out of it was a lady in the room, very, very successful CEO who's been following me for a while, asked me, "Grant, it seems like everything that you do somehow works." She's like, "How do you," and she was very clear that she's like, "I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that goes on that we don't see that doesn't work for you, but it appears that when you put your mind to something, you somehow make it work and you achieve your target." And I'm going to share with you what I do to do that, because it was a great question, one of the best questions I've been asked, actually. And it made me think about, okay, what is it that we do that, and we don't achieve every one of our targets, but a very large percentage we accomplish in my office. I'm talking about all the businesses I run 5 businesses. They all have different problems, different types of people involved. It could be e-commerce, or it could be us buying real estate or apartments and making them work. It could be us trying to find a deal that's off market, or it could be us bringing or launching a new product to the marketplace and trying to monetize that as quickly as possible. And I said to her, I said, "Look, the thing that I do at my company that is very unusual is that we are completely unreasonable, without reason, we don't use, yes, I'm logical, okay, yes, I'm a sane person, but when it comes to achieving a target, we do it with, like, we abandon reason and logic. We don't talk about, yeah, but, we never start, yeah, but, or no, we can't, or we couldn't because, or it didn't happen because. Anytime you're making sense of why something didn't work, we don't have the budget, we can't do that because, yeah, but we're different, you are being reasonable. The great things that have happened on this planet and continue to happen are because people are unreasonable. They literally abandon reason and logic. They defy the universe. Now, if you look around, if you're a logical person, if you're a person that has to make sense of it beforehand, then spend some time looking around the universe, look at nature, look at all the things that are done every day that literally defy gravity, defy possibility, defy physics. It's all over the place if you need to be reasonable. Now, in my case, I don't need to be reasonable because there's enough cases of super successful people doing things that are amazing, whether it was a manufacturing, a new product, or whether it was Steve Jobs coming back to Apple and turning that company around. Every day, look at Amazon. Look what Amazon has done. Okay, now you look at it, you're like, dude, that's a no-brainer. Make all products available online. Now it's a no-brainer. Now it's like, it's so logical. Look at Velcro. Velcro was like, God, I should have thought of that. See, but beforehand, it was completely out of reason that you could stick things together because they scratch one another. You understand what I'm saying? So look, this is what I want you to try. Try this in your life. It's going to be very difficult. It's one of the most difficult things I do is being unreasonable because all the people I'm surrounded by are trying to make sense of why they can't do something. Quit making sense of why you can't do something and become unreasonable until you do something. I have an appointment right now, and I shouldn't have done this video because I have an appointment. Now I'm going to have to rush off to the appointment. But you see, reason would say, you don't have time. And what I do is I practice every day being unreasonable. Little exercises. I'm going to be unreasonable. I'm going to shoot this right now. I'm going to get it done, and then I'm going to go get my hair cut. See what I'm saying? Be unreasonable. You don't have the budget? Good, go find the money. You don't know how to do this? Good, then do it anyway. Right? Be unreasonable. The real estate's not for sale. I'm trying to drop these shades. The real estate's not for sale. The real estate's not for sale. So what? Make an offer. You understand? I just bought an $80 million deal, trophy property in one of the major cities in the United States, off market, not for sale, not interested in selling, and we just closed the deal. Why? Because I was completely unreasonable until we got the deal. Be unreasonable. Your mommy didn't teach you how, your daddy didn't teach you how. In fact, your kid, your parents, your teachers, society keeps telling you, be reasonable.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.
Have you ever found yourself stuck in one of life's storms? And no matter how hard you try, no matter what you do, it seems that you can't make any headway.
So many times the storms in our life, we didn't prepare for them, we didn't plan for them, we didn't ask for them, we didn't even cause them, they just suddenly happen.
I still believe that things can turn around for me. I still believe that this is not my final position. I still believe that my family can get better. I still believe that if I lose this job, there is another job for me. I still believe that my marriage is not over. Turn to your neighbor and say, you got to keep your hope. Sometimes you have to go through something to really get your insight, to find out who you really are, to find out what you really got, to find out that you're tougher than you thought you were, to find out that you can do more than you thought you could do. Through my eyesight, I connect with that which is around me, not that which is within me. If I look around me, I see circumstances. If I look in me, I see hope. So sometimes in order to really get your focus, you have to shut down your eyesight to build up your insight. Shut your eyes to what you see and turn on your insight to what you believe. You can't help victims when you see yourself as a victim. You have to announce your recovery to yourself. You've got to command yourself, get up out of this hospital bed and start to moving.
Clarity. Because when you get in a storm, you become real clear of what matters and what does not. When you get in a storm, you're not trying to say, oh my God, let me get my Gucci bag. No. When you're in a storm, you get clarity as to what matters. Your priorities come into view when you're in a storm.
As a man thinketh in his heart. Where you talk to yourself, that's your heart. That's the meeting place where you are reasoning with yourself. That's where you sit down and say, well, let's see now. Can I do this? Can I not do it? Can I really do this? That's where you're having meetings with yourself.
That's a powerful thing to understand because you weren't born this way. You weren't born doubting. You were born perfect. You were born believing you were going to do something great. You were born happy. You were born believing you were going to do something special with your life. As a baby, I promise you, you had no negative self-talk. You had no negative self-doubt. These are external sources. So important to know because those thoughts aren't really who you are.
Be careful how you think.
Your life is shaped by your thoughts. People say, well, I was just thinking it. Well, you don't realize how important the thought is. The power of your mind, the power of your thoughts has tremendous ability to shape your life for good or for bad.
Sometimes when we compare ourselves to others, we put ourselves down so much that we don't find power to invest in ourselves.
And if you accept the thought, if growing up somebody said to you, you're worthless, you're no good, you don't matter, you're ugly, you're uncoordinated, if you accepted that fact, whether it was right or wrong, it shaped your life.
And you're back to the same place that you were. And you wonder why you're not being successful. It's easier downhill than it is uphill. It's quicker downhill than it is uphill. And so what happens is, we have a lot of good uphill days, but we have a few downhill days, and the few downhill days cancel out all the uphill days.
I think so many people out there think that they're cursed, or that they're got bad luck, or that they're their life is detrimental, when really it's all a perspective shift. So I want you guys tonight to take some time today, and I want you to think about things that you've experienced in life that you thought were curses, that were really life's workings for you.
Managing my mind is actually the key to peace and the key to happiness. An unmanaged mind leads to tension. A managed mind leads to tranquility. An unmanaged mind leads to conflict. A managed mind leads to confidence.
You can't go uphill without self-discipline. Nobody will carry you uphill. Nobody can coach you uphill. If you go uphill, you got to do it yourself. There are no free rides uphill. There's no such thing as accidental achievements.
An unmanaged mind leads to stress. If you don't manage your thoughts, you just let them go all over the place. You don't ever even try to control your mind and the way you direct your thoughts. You're going to have an enormous amount of stress in your life. But a managed mind leads to strength, and leads to security, and leads to serenity.
And that's how you should dream. You should dream outlandish dreams. If it's in your imagination, it's possible. Do you know that you can't think of something that can't happen? You know it's impossible to think of the impossible. It's not possible. So if you think it, it's possible. And if you live your life in possibilities instead of probabilities, you have a greater chance of finding happiness.
There's things in your life that are necessary, but they're unpleasant. Working out my legs is necessary, but it's unpleasant. Why is it necessary? Because it's the largest muscles in your body. See, what you learn is it's this thing called unintended consequences. You don't know what type of fight you gotta face on Tuesday. You don't know what your boss is gonna come and say on Friday. But thank God you've been putting in some work on the interior life that when you need to fight, you got some strength.
I'm the kind of person, if I'm going to do it, I'm all in. I'm the kind of person, I don't like being in between. I don't like to be at the back of the line. I want to be in the front of the line, and I'm going to prepare myself and work on myself to be a dominant voice. Take no prisoners, and like Mike Tyson, eat the wounded, starting at the ears.
Carefully consider how you live. So live wisely, not foolishly. Make the most of your time, because these are difficult, evil days. You need to have a routine. Now, when you're stuck at home, it's so easy to slip into sloppiness. I want you to write this down right now, okay? Write this down. Routine develops resilience.
I've been riddled with self-doubt. That creeps up all the time in our lives. Am I enough? Am I good enough? Do I deserve this? These are two of the most chaotic things that the adversary can do to us, or that we do to ourselves in our own minds, is to get ourselves doubting, to get ourselves discouraged, because you can't win when you doubt, and you can't win when you're discouraged.
So if you can't control something and you can't get control of it, you have to at least embrace what you can. There's only so much you can do, and you cannot completely eliminate it. But you can't control it, so why are you going to worry about it? Why are you going to stress about it? If there's something that's completely beyond your control, you got to detach from it and not let yourself get stressed about it.
Dreams without goals remain dreams, just dreams, and ultimately fuel disappointment. Dreams without goals, yearly goals, life goals, daily goals, monthly goals, hourly goals, goals on the road to achievement cannot be achieved without discipline and consistency. You understand?
Someone's gonna get the candy in life. There's always candy in life. That piñata eventually always breaks down. Do you want to be the person who was there in the beginning, hitting as hard as you could and sacrifice it and never get the candy? Or are you going to get something for your pain? Are you going to get something for your effort? Are you going to get something for this sacrifice you're making? You got to get something for this pain. You got to stick in the game until the candy comes out, and then we all get to celebrate. I promise you there's going to be a payoff for you.
The big challenge is to make something out of each opportunity. Now, if winters are always going to occur in our life, shouldn't we benefit from them too? Come the next winter, you could be on the inside looking out, seated by a warm fire, the company of a good friend, and those unique feelings of security in spite of the circumstances or the season.
Happiness is freedom from the negative children of fear, such as worry, low self-esteem, envy, greed, anger, resentment, and so on. Happiness is an awareness and a grasp of the positive power of life and loving values. It is an order of thought, activity, and lifestyle. Happiness is values in balance. It is contact with people of substance.
There's another dimension, which is trait conscientiousness, which is integrity and dutifulness, orderliness, industriousness, openness, which is like a hybrid between intellect, intelligence roughly, and creativity. And so you can go there and find out how you compare to other people, and that's kind of interesting and useful, because it's kind of useful to know who you are, and to know that that's actually who you are, you know, that you have a nature.
If you've had a dream, I guarantee you, you were born with that dream woven into your DNA. You see, dreams are deeply personal. That's why you can be super little and be drawn to something like being a lawyer and have no explanation for why. And this is important for you to understand, because if you give up on your dream's gonna haunt you.
You have to be honest with yourself and truthful with yourself. And I think a lot of times what it is for me, I was expecting things from people that I wasn't giving to people. And so that's very selfish, you know? So I had to look at myself and say, you know what, this part of my personality needs to be changed, it needs to be fixed. So it's that reality that you have to have with yourself, and that truthfulness, and not knowing that it doesn't make you weak by admitting these things. It doesn't make you less by admitting these things.
Begin to know now that the night will pass, and as you learn to grow and progress, you will better understand how to handle every night and better live every day. Don't be afraid to face the facts of life.
It is not negative to understand that the winters always come. Don't clip the word impossible out of the dictionary. Don't say, I don't want to hear the problem. I don't want to see the difficulty. Don't show me the weeds. Don't say anything negative. Only see the positive. That's foolish. There is a thin line between positive thinking and kidding yourself. And remember, there's also a thin line between faith and folly.
Credit goes to our awesome patrons who make videos like this one possible. Consider joining them to support our work. You can also support us by subscribing to our channel and clicking the bell button to get notified when our new videos are released. And as always, thank you for watching.
Hi, welcome back to Mind Control.
Neither your body goes somewhere, nor your mind goes somewhere, nor you go somewhere. They're always one composite whole. If you want to do anything, you have to do something that works for all of them. You can't handle this separately, that one separately, and this one separately. They're always together, isn't it? Your mind doesn't go anywhere. Did you lose it? It is just that you're being deceived by the imagination of your mind. It is sitting here and imagining something. It is not going anywhere, but you are so identified and lost that you think the mind is going somewhere. Mind doesn't travel anywhere, it's very much here, isn't it? You need to understand this. Why your mind is going on with uncontrollable, endless thought is, you're identified with things that you're not. The moment you get identified with something that you are not, then mind is non-stop activity. You're identified with too many things and you're trying to stop your mind. I'm telling you, if you try for 1,000,000 years, it's not going to happen. It cannot happen. If you take away your wrong identifications, then you will see this moment, mind will be just like a mirror, not saying anything, just reflecting everything. That's how mind should be. Your mind as a mechanism works best only when there is clarity in it, isn't it? Isn't it so? Your mind is not here to think up all kinds of fancy things. That's a distraction in life. Your mind is here to give you clarity and penetration into life. But right now, mind is just a huge ball of confusion, simply because you got identified with so many things that you're not, and now you're trying to hold it back. There is no way to hold it back.
I'm tired of playing defense on the faith journey. I'm tired of being afraid. I'm tired of apologizing. Do you ever just get tired of reacting to the devil and his schemes? I want to be somebody who's directing. I want to be somebody who's leading. I don't want his threats to dictate one step that I take. So many of us, we tiptoe through life to simply arrive safely at death. It is a fact that you will die. The question today is, will you ever actually live?
Is there anybody in this building that's tired of being discontent? And you want to be able to say, if I get my way, I'm going to be happy. If I don't get my way, I'm going to be happy. I'm not going to let my circumstances control my moods. I am content and emotionally stable. That is my goal, to be content and emotionally stable.
It doesn't take much faith to give God glory when all your bills are paid. You don't have to be real strong when everything is well in your life. But when the bottom falls out, when sickness comes, when trials and difficulties come, when your health starts to fail, when your children break your heart, when difficulties, tough times, hard days, long nights, it is then that your faith kicks in to let you know that he's a very present help in the time of trouble.
Maybe you're unhappy right now with your current job. Maybe you're unhappy with your health, or maybe you're unhappy with the season of life you find yourself. Has it ever occurred to you that you are not there by coincidence, but rather you are there by providence? Has it ever occurred to you that God has a plan, that he's putting the puzzle together, and that you must recognize, regardless of the season, I am here for such a time as this? See, there's a reason for your season. There's purpose in your pain. There is a design in the disaster. There's hope in the hurt. There's life even after death. I think it's time for a turnaround.
Because crying and complaining is not going to stop the trial. Murmuring and groaning is not going to stop the trial. And the purposes that God wants to work out in our lives may include trials, setbacks, heartbreak. It may mean that you have to stay sick a while. It may mean that you have to go through it a while. You're not going to come through it yet because God has his mighty hand on you. And that hand on your life is so powerful to get purpose out of you.
And you know what? Those days are good for us. It's good to go through those days. Do not despise the day of small beginning. And don't complain your way through small beginning. Because if we cannot learn to be thankful for those things, trust me, you will not be thankful when God gives you more. Because going through the hard times and remaining thankful builds character in us that we need to remain stable when God gives us more to be responsible for. We should have a goal to be the most thankful person on the face of the earth. Go through each day thanking God for little things like hot water and a friend, every convenience that you have. Do all things without grumbling and fault-finding and complaining.
Hold your head up and dry your tears. You have nothing to be ashamed of. If you want to begin to move, you got to clear your mind of all the unnecessary luggage and baggage that's weighing us down. Let it go and begin to focus on developing myself. And I say to you, you're going to have people to do things to you. Things are going to happen to you. And the most important thing to do is to harness your will and let it go. And move so you can grow, so you can get on with your life. It doesn't matter about what happens to you. What matters is, what are you going to do about it?
Every other voice may be negative, telling you how you're not going to get better. You feel alone, isolated. It means you're in the wrong stadium. The enemy has a stadium filled with accusers, discouragers. Don't go there. That's the opponent's stadium. Your game is being played on the home field. Everyone in these stands is pulling for you.
Your life is a seed. The seed has to be coupled with a healthy environment. The seed has to go into the soil. It has to be healthy soil. The seed needs water. The seed needs sunlight. See, you and I are the same thing. We're a seed. We have to connect it to a community of people that are healthy and vibrant and believe the best really is in store for us. See, because you're kind of saying, I'm over it, but if you would share your calling, the moment you say, I'm over it, you would have somebody else walk up to you and say, wait a minute, let me just shed some light onto that dark area so that you can grow again. You're not quitting today. You're not quitting tomorrow. You're going to run this race of faith and you're not going to give up.
So as you begin to look at life, as you begin to look at the things you want to do, decide that you're going to become the active force in your life. Decide that you're not going to go through life feeling like a victim. Decide that when things become challenging, that you're not going to personalize it, that you're going to look at it, and you do whatever you must do in order to work things out and learn from it. That's the key. You will always be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges.
We all have things that come against us and try to keep us from our destiny. Most of what we struggle with didn't start with us. It was passed down. Things like depression, anger, divorce. Studies show how that can get passed from generation to generation. If your mother was depressed, there's a good chance you'll have to deal with depression. Just like a lady that's on drugs and gives birth to a baby, that baby can have the same addiction as the mother. There's no fault of the babies, it's just life. What you're dealing with may not have started with you, but it can stop with you. God wants to give you rest from those enemies. As long as we accept dysfunction as the norm, it will never change. If you see that depression, that lack and struggle as your lot in life, you'll not only get stuck, but you'll pass it on to the next generation.
You've got to get the word. Happiness is something you design. Happiness is a study. Happiness is a practice. Happiness is an art. It's not an accident. It's an art. And anybody that wants to can study and practice the art of happy living. Happiness is like culture. Money doesn't make you cultured, but culture is within the grasp of all of us. All you have to be is committed to it and make it a study. Culture is a study. Sophistication is a study. It's not an amount. It's not an account. It's a study. Money doesn't make you sophisticated. Only study and practice makes you sophisticated. Only study and practice makes you cultured. And only study and practice makes you happy. Study and practice makes you rich. Key phrase, don't be lazy in learning. 1, how to do well. Next, how to live well. Don't be lazy in learning and practicing the art of economics and practicing the art of lifestyle.
As long as you accept the dysfunction, even when God sends you a way out, you'll talk yourself out of it. You think it's normal to live depressed, addicted, angry, lonely. This is a new day. You may have been ruled by those things for years. They may have been passed down by previous generations, but that is not your destiny. What's limited you in the past doesn't have to limit you in the future. You can rise out of lack, struggle, not having enough. You have seeds of greatness. You were created to lend and not borrow. You can be free from depression, low self-esteem, insecurity. Don't let limited thinking keep you from your destiny.
There's some things that you can accomplish that you can't see right now. My favorite book says, eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what God has in store for you. When you're willing to say yes, when you're willing to move forward, life will respond to you. Mindset transformation is very important. Be ye not conformed to this world, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You don't want to think like everybody else. You want uncommon thinking. Expand your skill set.
You just got to go through exercises like this. Take the notes, work hard, roll up your sleeves, go to work. Gather the knowledge in journals, gather the knowledge in notebooks, gather the knowledge in a library. And don't be lazy in learning.
Your feelings don't matter. You may feel like doing something, maybe you don't feel like doing something. Doesn't matter. Get out there and do what you're supposed to do, whether you feel like it or not.
What causes that switch to flip? The overdrive, the beast mode, the full-on destroyer that will not stop.
So, machines make their decisions based on ones and zeros. Binary code. Yes or no. And that's actually a good system for you to implement for your own personal human machine. It's actually not that complicated. Are you going to work out today? Yes or no? Are you going to eat the donut? Yes or no? Are you going to win? Yes or no? Don't allow for any gray area in there. Get rid of the debate. Make the binary code decision. Yes or no. You know the right decision to make. So go and make it. But what's equally pathetic is when people let that scenario play out in their own head. Too tired, too hungry, too sore, too hot, too cold, too whatever. You ask me what I do when I get those little feelings running around. Well, let me tell you what I don't do. I don't tell everybody. No, I actually just keep that to myself. As a matter of fact, I don't even let those words run around inside my own brain housing group.
I keep it secure, lock it down. And instead of taking charge of the situation and taking charge of their life, they let some voice in their head that's lazy and weak and pathetic start to run things. Don't let that happen. You're in charge.
It takes both emotion and logic for you to reach your maximum potential, to really give everything you have and go beyond your limits.
No matter what's happening in your life, no matter what's coming down on you, don't surrender to it. Ask yourself, what am I going to do about this? And then go make it happen. And sometimes you're barely making any progress. Sometimes you're barely making any progress at all. And that tough situation is making you want to stop. And what you eventually learn is you can't stop. When you're going through tough situations, you got to take that next step. Take action! Some things are going to happen that are not in your control. You're going to get knocked around. You got to take the same mindset. That is, hang on to your paddle, get back in your boat, and get to rowing.
That's when you gotta use that anger, that frustration, that fear to push yourself forward. To push yourself to say, I don't stop. And when your feelings are screaming that you've had enough, and when you think you're gonna break emotionally, you gotta override that emotion with the concrete logic and willpower that says, you know what? I don't stop. And you won't.
Life is short. So go live it.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.